this. Okay. I'm going to turn this up.
Yeah, turn it up because I want to hear what
So sorry, sir.
the
I
egg
have
yolk.
noticed something odd
Acvodad.
happening in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
The drink.
Okay.
Acvodad.
It just looks like egg
True,
yolk.
there's
It does have a
plenty
lot of
of
egg
odd
yolk
things
in it.
going on in The
That's nice.
Shining, but this is really weird.
Advocaat, is it?
I don't think anyone has ever noticed it before because I cannot find anything about it. No article, no video, nothing.
Then you obviously didn't watch the movie.
Well, it has been noticed before, but only once. I mean, one instance. This one.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, him looking at the camera.
Straight down the barrel.
Yeah, several times.
While in fact there are many, many more, as you see.
The
Yes, I'm
Advocaat was
talking about
like,
Jack Nicholson looking right into the
that was real obvious. Everything else could kind of possibly be like, he's not a good actor, just looking down the barrel, right? I'm just saying.
About when he
But-
looks at the camera because he's talking to someone else. This type of shot
He's
is called a
talking to Lloyd.
subjective camera, a technique that places the audience in the shoes of a character.
Hi, Lloyd.
I'm talking about all the times in which Jack Torrance looks at the camera, but there's no one to look at. This thing happens throughout the entire film. This is the first time. And this is the last. They are all very brief moments, captured by a few frames of film. It's basically just a glance. It can happen while the eyes
when-
move from one point in space to another.
But when he gets
But usually,
the
it's
drink
as if Jack
spilled
is
on him,
casting a
he
brief look at
turns
something
and looks.
as if
Yes,
he's
Like
speaking.
that's what's interesting to me. It's
I
not
have-
that
I have
like
a theory
glance
about
by.
that.
Story.
Okay.
Most of the times, it's so
I'm going to pause
weak
this
you
so that I can
easily
tell you.
miss it.
Okay, so when he turns and looks, when the Acvodad is spilled on him, I think that's the first moment in the film where we see Jack has descended into
Total
madness,
madness.
where he is fully immersed in The Shining as a historical kind of hallucination. These are people that actually lived there or
Like
worked there.
he's
or
embraced it and become one of them.
Exactly. And I think that is the moment that it's decided when we see the final shot in the end of the movie where he's in the photo, it's at that event,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
I
I think that's why you see it so clearly
totally
when
logical.
he turns
yeah.
and looks at the camera. But my theory
Where
about
he's just like, I'm doing this.
right. I think the reason that, Kubrick, for whatever he was, is considered to be a master filmmaker.
Okay.
I think he was very out the box for that time.
Yeah.
Now we have other directors that push limits like he did.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's not always for the best, but it was intentional on Kubrick's part to have Jack look in the camera. Just
okay.
even when it's just a glance.
A glance.
And
okay. You told him, don't
I don't know
shy
that
away from looking down
Yeah.
the barrel.
I don't know that it's ever explained. I can't remember if this video explains it, but my theory is that they're letting us in on the world of The Shining. Like we're being included. We're
Yeah.
hallucinations of Jack. He's talking
Right.
to us, trying to say, see what's going on, see how horrible Wendy is,
Yeah.
see how deliberate and disobedient Danny
He's
is.
bringing us into his confidence.
I-
I don't want that.
No, I don't. Because from the minute he appears
I get
on
it.
screen, you're like, oh, that guy's insane.
Yeah.
That guy's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
He is.
This, for example, lasts just one frame, while others are unabashedly blatant.
She interferes.
And it only happens with Jack Nicholson, or Jack Torrance, that is. No
'Cause
other
Wendy and
actor
Danny can't
no
see
other
us.
character
Jack
in the
can.
film does
That's so
that.
terrifying.
I think it's so smart.
I mean, yes,
So I'm
but
not a
it's...
believer that everything in a Stanley Kubrick film happens for a reason, that everything is intentional. It is difficult
Well, then
to
you
listen
don't
to
agree with
detail
Kubrick's
as a
films.
mistake.
No,
They
I
are
agree.
just
Yeah,
too
but
many.
I agree with him.
It cannot be accidental.
It is not
Do you
accidental.
mind if I ask why you do that?
Well, we know it is intentional. In this scene from the documentary Making The Shining,
I keep meaning to
Kubrick
watch this.
explicitly asks Nicholson to find a way to look down right where the camera is.
Can you do it head down? Well, that's not bad.
It's high praise.
Yeah.
Wendy, listen to me. Let me out of here and I'll forget the whole damn thing. Like it never happened. You couldn't find some way of sort of not looking at her and looking down as you said more. Wendy, baby, I think you're hurting my head real bad.
Oh,
Right?
it's wonderful.
To see how
But why
terrible
is
she
that?
treats me.
Mm-hmm.
When actors speak directly in the camera, it is said that they break the fourth wall. The phrase comes from the theatre. It means that the actors break the imaginary wall that separates them from the audience, thus breaking the illusion of the play's reality. In films it works in the same way, and it breaks the viewer's so-called suspension of disbelief. We look at a work of fiction
I
as
don't
if
think
we
it
are
breaks it. It depends on how you're
observing
doing it.
events, until the actor breaks such illusion by looking directly at us. It's been done countless times in the history of cinema, often to startling effect.
What do you do when you get stuck on a movie line with a guy like this behind? And I happen to have Mr. McLuhan right here. So yeah, just let me.
I heard what you were saying. You know nothing of my work.
It is a powerful device. It makes us realize that the story is being told to us.
Why are you not bringing Deadpool into this? Like, he's
Yeah.
the master of breaking fourth walls.
In a split second, we are no longer watching the story, we become part of it.
What are you looking at?
Environment is a very noticeable effect, and it always feels deliberate. We notice it. We recognize immediately and without any doubt that we are being addressed by the character. What Nicholson does in The Shining is instead completely different. It does not feel deliberate, and it may well escape our perception. In fact, as I said, I'm not aware of anybody noticing it so far. Moreover, breaking the fourth wall is usually a one-off device. It is used once per play or film, or very sparingly,
That's
and
true.
in very specific moments. It must have a meaning for it to work. Again, what happens in The Shining is different. Jack Nicholson's glances at the camera are everywhere in the film, and they don't seem to mean much.
I don't know. I still like my theory.
Let's go back to
I
that
think it's
lens that has
perfect.
been
I think
noticed
your
by a
theory
few
is-
film critics. Some
I'm
say
smart.
it's
I know
an
some
effect
things.
I think it's most
to
logical
expose the
knowing
artifice of the mise en scène
Kubrick and the
have
way
the
that
audience
he
reflect on the film medium.
sees things and
But
approaches
Kubrick's films
his
are not
filmmaking, and
intellectual,
like
despite what
I
critics say.
like that makes total
The
fucking
truth
sense.
of
Yeah, that's something he would do, I think.
Oh,
is in
yeah.
the feel of it, not in the think of it. If this look at the camera means anything, for me it means that we are not safe from Jack's fury. He knows where we are. He may come for us next.
Mm.
But what about the
I
others?
mean, yes, but I think
Why on
I
earth is
still
Jack
agree with
Torrance
you.
constantly glancing at us, breaking the fourth wall over and over, and over, and over?
it's
As
always
with
in
anything
like
happening in a work of
states
art,
of
I
heightened
don't
emotion.
have a
Yeah.
definite interpretation,
Always.
nor I think there should be
Right,
one.
even in the
I
office when
cannot
he's
deny,
interviewing
but
for the
I'd be
job,
more
he would
than
have been
happy to
anxious
hear
and
yours.
uptight.
Right,
And
he's
In fact,
getting
the reason why I have
agitated.
made this visual essay is to see whether somebody has a better explanation, because this thing bugs me every time I watch the film. Why is that? I keep wondering. I have some ideas to throw around. It is often said that with The Shining, Kubrick did not simply make a genre picture, but a film that plays with the conventions of the genre. I agree. Perhaps the clearest way to show this would be to say that, contrary to most horror films,
I'm
and
gonna have
especially
to watch The
haunted
Shining and
houses
then
horror
Dr. Sleep.
films, The
Yeah.
Shining is very
Oh, darn.
bright. The Overlook Hotel is awash with light. That there's an intentional
I love how
subversion
dated
of
it
the
is,
scary
too.
dark corners
Like, there's
trope
something
of horror
comforting
films
about, like, the
is
Art
clear
Deco-y
if
kind
we
of look
consider
it
how
has.
Halloran is
Yeah.
about to die.
With those, like, kind of old elements of the wood and the...
Yes. Well, to me, it shows. So these places, if you know any places, so
my
this was
idea is
obviously
that
based
perhaps
on
Kubrick used this
on the Stanley.
No article.
And like the Stanley, like the history of the Stanley, like it absolutely makes sense to me that that these places would still look like that, right? Like they were built with quality craftsmanship and like you don't update a place like that.
No, craftsmanship, like dating back to the 50s and 60s even, was so much more quality. There was so much more care put into it, quality of materials, things like that,
Yes.
that it stands the test of times.
What he has done here is formally wrong. It goes against dramaturgical norms and
Dramaturgical. Ooh, there's a mouthful.
How do you like it?
Moreover, I think The Shining is an extreme film in many ways. It's
Yes.
so over the top that it often places itself between the scary and the ridiculous.
Agreed.
But part of what made it so scary was the ridiculous.
So maybe this is another
Yeah, the
Was
whole
it
Horace
already
Derwent
happened?
storyline,
Like,
and
why don't
which you don't really get in the
we
movie, but you get in the book.
We do
Yeah.
it all the time.
And
This too has a startling
the
effect.
people that would
It's odd.
frequent there,
It's
and the
not
people who
supposed
were
to
said
happen.
to have been investors
Why does
there,
Jack
like
do
you get all
that?
that history.
Yeah.
Is he talking to
Read
me?
the book.
Looks like it does.
It's so much better. Like I only
It's
tolerate
unsettling.
Kubrick's
It
The
is
Shining
exploited,
because of its place in
uncanny.
pop culture.
Yeah.
Of course, by the end of the film, it's become madness.
By the end of the film, no. I think it started that way. I think so. I mean, you see the descent a little bit, but it's so accelerated because of where he started.
Well, and also the
It is after me.
timeline that like
Yeah.
the medium matters.
Yeah.
Like the medium matters. In the book, it is more of a slow descent, and
Yeah,
he
see,
does
he's talking-
resist it some.
He's
Does
talking
he want
straight
to
to
hurt
us.
me? These glances at
He's
the camera
coming after
no way to subtly perturb the audience.
No, it's
Why
very
am I
smart.
Subtly
that the
perturbed?
Shining
Yeah.
actually employs to do that? Or here's another more intriguing theory. Let's flip the perspective. Who is looking at Jack?
Are we the ghosts?
Ghosts. The ghosts of the
Ooh,
Overlook
that's
Hotel.
interesting.
It's
Well, but
them
that's kind
who are
of-
watching.
That's kind of what you were
Jack
saying.
felt
Like
the
kind of
presence
like
of the
I mean,
very
like it could be like another angle on that. Like
Yeah.
nobody else
So
sees us.
the camera in The Shining must be, well, a ghost itself.
Interesting. And there are ways that he films where it does look like the camera itself is
Oh,
a
wait a
ghost.
minute.
Like,
If
okay,
the
smart.
subjective cameras in The Shining are the ghost's point of view, does it mean that I am a ghost too? Now I'm scared. In the end, I don't know exactly what is going on in The Shining, but whatever the reason for these glances, I think they must surely be one of Kubrick's brilliant cinematic tricks.
So I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. I also love, and this is not on this video, I'm just going to go on a little tangent because I love it. The way that Mike Flanagan and the writers took, so in the book, The Shining, the hotel burns to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously in Kubrick's movie, which is the widely accepted
Yeah.
Shining version, it does not burn to the ground.
Mhm.
So in the book, Dr. Sleep, at the end, they go back to the former location.
Right. It's become
Of
a
the
lookout
Overlook.
point.
Yeah, and it is no longer, the hotel burned to the ground in the book, so it's no longer there. So the creators of the film, Dr. Sleep, had a very difficult job to
Yeah.
marry these two concepts, and they did a phenomenal job.
So good.
Phenomenal job. They
I
go back
believe-
to it. It's been shut down. It's been abandoned, and they go back to it. And it's at that point that Danny then burns it down and
Right.
just kind of marries
Closes that circle.
marries those timelines and just stitches everything up into a neat little package. And I love it. Also thinks we're very smart,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Dean?
She's like, I don't care, just give me scratches. But yeah, I think that probably, not probably, I think that Jack's glances at the camera in The Shining are intentional.
100%
Obviously, we
intentional.
saw Kubrick telling him no, look down into the frame, like or into
Yeah.
the camera, so that we see you do it. when they were doing the Shining documentary or whatever. And I think that, it makes us complicit in the filmmaking.
Perfect word for it.
Yeah.
It may not just complicit in the filmmaking, but complicit in where the story goes.
Yeah. And
complicit in what
Jack's madness.
In Jack's madness.
Yeah.
And that is
But
terrifying.
The other theory that he said was like, are we the ghosts then? I'm like, yeah, like we could be. I think that
I think those two concepts could very easily go hand in hand, because if we're complicit in his descent into madness, so are all the other ghosts there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we're ghosties.
I'm a ghostie.
Which, I mean, no surprise, because when I die, I will come back and haunt everybody I've ever met. That's my intention. I'm speaking it into the universe. I'm going to make it happen. Not in a bad way. Like, I'll be nice with you.
I know. No, you're
there
going to
are
fuck
some-
with me, and I'm going to be like, knock it the fuck off.
But there are some exes that are going to get like the full-on banshee,
I
grudge bitch shit.
I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That was really good.
I like
That
that.
was really good.
I
Now I
forgot
have to
that
go
that was
watch.
in there.
I gotta watch The Shining and then Doctor Sleep, and then I'm gonna watch the making of The Shining.
Full day for us. Okay. So, stick around. We'll see you next time. Bye.